items that we're going to review, so you'll be ready for the right triangle section that we're headed into. And the first, all of these, even though they don't say it very clearly, are right triangles. And if you know 2 sides out of 3 sides of any right triangle, hopefully you remember what you use, because we've used it a few times this year. It's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, what you need to start with is, which is the c? The c is always the hypotenuse. So in this first one, it very clearly, here is the right angle. They should mark it with a box, but they didn't. So n is in the place of c. So if we were doing that, we would have to do 6 squared plus 8 squared equals n squared, is how I would probably write it out. And yes, I expect to show all the work in these type, like you would if we were doing the tests. I know what I need to do. Get this box bigger. There we go. And then I want to get inside it, join, be right there, and am I here? And so 6 squared, 6 times 6, 36, plus 8 squared, 64, equals still n squared. And then the opposite of squaring is, first we have to add 100 equals n squared. And so the opposite of squaring is square root. Square root of 100 is positive negative 10, but we're talking about a length, so 10 equals n. And if you did it right, I think I lost my little 2. But if you did it right, you should find 10. So where this 10 is, you would put n. Okay, the next one seems to always get people, for some reason, they don't figure out that this sort of looks like a right angle, but this is the right angle. If you put a sheet of paper up above it, you will notice that this is exactly the right angle. So that means 61 is in the place of c. You can say u squared plus 11 squared or 11 squared plus u squared. That doesn't matter. But the 61, the hypotenuse, is always the c. So I'll do 11 squared plus u squared equals 61 squared. Okay, next line. 11 squared, 121, plus u squared equals, get a handy dandy calculator, 61 squared is 3,721. So this is a little different. We don't add these together. We get rid of the 121. So when we subtract it off, you just have u squared equals 3,600. Take the square root of both sides. U equals 60. And on every single one of them, if you do it right, you can find the answer. So you know you're doing it right. Here's a 60. That's where you put u. The other thing we're going to look at is simplified radical form, because that has come up a few times and caused some problems. So here's square root of 18. And basically, every time you are faced with one of those, you put it into a prime factor tree. Square root of 18 can be broken down to 2 times 9. The 2 is prime, but the 9 isn't. It's 3 times 3. Now, my process when I do these is, if I have a pair of those, then I go through and circle it. So I've got 2 3s. These are a pain, but if you do them over and over again, you eventually get faster. I'm not very fast at it. I'm wanting to just circle the 2 3s. So I have a pair of 3s and a lone 2. Whenever you have a pair, it comes to the outside. This 2 stays under. So we end up with an answer that basically says, and the way you say it is 3 for the pair of 3's, and then square root, and then the lone 2 stays under the radical sign. Maybe you can use more proper, but this is how you say it, 3 square root 2. I'm going to look down at D, any of these others. Fractions can, square root of 1 over 2 is the same as square root of 1 over square root of 2, which means this could be square root of whatever 300 divided by 5 is. So, square root of 1 over square root of 2. But the square root of 1 is just 1. So we have 1 over the square root of 2. 1 over square root 2. Well, there's proper ways and improper, like proper and improper fractions. And this is being a fraction. They don't like anything but regular whole numbers to be in the denominator. Square root 2 is not a whole number. So we have to multiply by 1, but I'm going to choose a special way to write it. I'm going to call it square root 2 over square root 2, because anything over itself is, now I've moved it to where it's there. So 1 over square root of 2 times square root of 2 over square root of 2 is what I next have. Okay, well, 1 times square root of 2 is just square root 2 over, now, square root of 2 times square root of 2, or square root of 2 squared. Square root and square are opposite operations, so all you have left is 2. The correct answer on this is square root 2 over 2. Now, when I look over here, I don't see something exactly square root 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. But if I look closely enough, 1/2 times square root of 2 is the same thing. So this one is letter D. And I forgot to look up the other one because you always should have the answer. This one, 3 square root of 2, equals the letter S. Okay, that should be a help, I hope. Thank you.